Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm trying to be more consistent, so today's video is gonna be a Q&A. Okay, so had some of my friends ask some questions they wanted me to answer, and then I also have some questions from a friend who missed the poll but still had some questions for me to answer.
Question 1, how do you manage stress?
I don't. I'm not really sure I would say I manage stress. I kind of just self-isolate myself when I get too overwhelmed. Most of the time, things that help me, I guess, when I am trying or during that time, I isolate myself. I go on walks and I listen to music, I go to the gym. And then depending on what the stress came from, if it didn't happen while I was around people, then I would try and spend time with my friends to kind of like get out of that headspace I was in. Next question, do you believe there is good in everyone? So this one is kind of a tricky question because the answer is yes and no. I don't believe that anyone is necessarily all good, and I don't believe anyone is necessarily all bad. I think everyone has a buildup of good and bad in them. It's just a matter of how much you let them outweigh each other that makes someone viewed as like a good person or a bad person. Next question, what gets you excited about life? So this is actually a great question because I battled with I still battle, but I battled a lot with mental illness and thinking it would be a better world if I wasn't in it. Got me out of that is kind of thinking about the little things in life that make it less mundane. So things that get me excited about life are merely just the experience. So corny, but it's like little things that we take for granted, like the way that my feet feel when they're in warm sand, or the way that if it's a really hot day, you still can happen to get a gust of cold wind across your face and it kind of feels just like a kiss, like on the cheek. So I guess in short, what makes me excited about life is getting to live it. However, whenever. So we're gonna get a little darker for a second and then we'll get light again. What are your thoughts on death and how do you cope with it? This is actually a funny question because for the longest time I was so scared of it. It came from like religious trauma, but I was just like, I'm gonna die, it's gonna happen, and if I don't go to heaven, you know. And then for the longest time I was really scared that like I was just gonna die and it was gonna be eternal darkness, and you know, I would never see, hear, smell, taste, feel anything again. And that to me was really, really scary. So how I coped with that is I kind of delved into other religions and I watched a couple documentaries about death and people who had near-death experiences. And I found comfort in kind of like Buddhist beliefs about the afterlife. So how I cope with it? I kind of cope with death by telling myself that when I die, it's not the end. When I do die, I don't think that I'm gonna be in pain. I'm not gonna be tortured for eternity in a hell. I think that there's lessons and things that we learn. I think we can have multiple lives. So wherever I do end up, I think I'm going to be at peace when I pass. I already said how I cope with it, but I also cope with it by living this life the best I can. Because even though I know like I could have another life after this one, I still want to live this one the best I can. So when I do die, you know, I leave with a bunch of memories and no missed opportunities. And whether it was good or bad, I experienced this life fully. I'll be at peace with that.
Do you think people get to choose what they become after death?
Yes! There are so many endless opportunities that could happen with, you know, your spirit. I do feel like if you die and you wanted to be born again and live another life, you absolutely could. Whether that's being a human, an animal, a plant, whatever. I really like the idea of reincarnation. It's awesome. Speaking of reincarnation, I really believe in it because there's been times when like some people that I was close with passed away and like an animal or something would come up to me and I knew that it was either a sign sent from them or it was them visiting me. It might sound really crazy, but you won't believe it until it happens to you. You can feel when someone's trying to like contact you, whether, you know, a butterfly lands on you or a bunny comes up to you and just stares at you. Like, I just can't express it enough. You won't know until it happens to you.
Would you rather give love or be loved?
So this is a really great question. So this to me isn't even a question. I would 10 times out of 10, 100% rather give love. This isn't because I don't think I deserve to be loved, but this is because when I do love someone, it's genuine. And so, you know, when you really love someone, it's not something you want to be transactional. Like, I don't view it as I love you, so you love me. Or, I'm giving love to you, so you owe me your love. Because if you were to think about it like that, then it's not genuine anymore. I would rather give love because I know that when it comes to like me loving someone romantically or genuinely, it is something that's very sweet to experience, and some people just need that. Some people need to be loved or shown love, even if it's not a type of love that stands the test of time. And I never regret anyone I have loved or given love to. Even if someone did me very dirty and I don't talk to them anymore now, or have any interest of wanting them in my life, I still feel fully happy in knowing I got to experience them. And for that time I was experiencing them, I loved them, and it was sweet, and I showed love to them. And they could never say that they were not loved genuinely, because even if they didn't choose me to be with in the long run, they did receive a genuine type of love. And on my part, that's something I feel good about. How do you try and grow from an old relationship that still affects you? So I think a lot of people need to realize, depending on the relationship, like if it was traumatic or they did you very dirty and it wasn't something you came to terms with till after, your healing process is going to be a lot different. So here's the thing with healing. I think so many people get so hurt and caught up in this idea of needing to heal that they forget to stop and acknowledge the progress. So the biggest advice I could give to you is, heal. Cut them off if they are not good for you. Delete the pictures. Start doing things that make you more happy or take your mind off of it. But also, when your mind is on it, allow yourself to feel those feelings. Just because you may have dated someone in the past and you're still affected, or you still think about something that they did to you, it doesn't mean you haven't healed from it, but it means that you can acknowledge now that you didn't deserve that. You are healed if you can say, what they did to me is wrong and I didn't deserve it and I don't want to go back. Even if you think about them or maybe get jealous about something that happened, if you can positively say that you would not go back, you're doing awesome.
I accidentally went poop and forgot to pull my pants.
Stop the music. I'm guessing this was clearly a joke. Please say that it was a joke. But for the off chance that it wasn't a joke, please, and I cannot express this enough, wash your ass.
Hey, moving along. Do one over astrology or something you could talk about for hours.
So if you do know me in real life, I guess I've just never expressed this over the internet to my subscribers, but I'm very into astrology to the point that it's annoying to people who are my friends in real life. As to just tell you something, I don't really know what to say. If you are into astrology, I am a Libra sun, a Libra moon, and a Capricorn rising. That's really all you need to know to get a brief idea of the type of person I am. But if you guys are interested, please go and look up your astrology chart and drop your sun, moon, and rising. Let me judge you. What is your biggest regret? So this may sound really weird, but I don't think I have any. There's a lot of things from my past that I used to look back on and I was like, I wish I had a time machine and I could undo that thing. I feel really bad about it. I regret it. But once I started, progressing, as a person, going to therapy and figuring myself out more, I realized that I can acknowledge that maybe sometimes the way I handled things wasn't the best, but now I got into a point where I don't regret it. I don't regret anything that happened from my past because I can acknowledge that it was wrong, but I've made peace with it. I feel like regret comes from a place of not being at peace with something that did happen, because when you regret something, you're really like, oh, I need to fix this thing, or you carry that guilt. Say you did something to a person, you carry that guilt and regret of doing something to them, and it's just a constant in your mind. But it's when I was at that point, I allowed myself to take in all of those emotions and fully process them and write it down on paper and talk to a counselor about them. And so finally it did get to a point where it wasn't a regret because I made peace with it. Hopefully that makes sense, or it puts things into perspective for you guys. So anyways, for the sake of time, I'm going to end the video there. Thank you for the people that asked me questions, and thank you for the people who watched this video. I may do a part 2 later and ask some more questions, but I just wanted to do this to give you guys a kind of brief idea of my opinions on things and me, myself as a person. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.
Of me to love. I choose to love my body because it's mine, and the care I can provide is special.